and happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your time with me. I'm Maria Milagros. You're an incredible human. This is Wisdom Wednesday. And during the month of May, I don't have one particular theme for the month, but I do have my regular threads that are going to be woven into every week during the month. During this particular month, I want to talk about how it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I want to start just by sharing with you this little story. When I was younger, and the first time I had to go to therapy, it was court mandated. True story. It was court mandated because I had some anger issues. I was sent to anger management. I had to do court mandated therapy, and was on probation. And so it was helpful for me at that time because this idea of being able to talk to someone felt really foreign and really weird and really like scary. So I didn't talk during therapy. It just got to the point where the therapist was like, you know what, you're not talking at all. And I would just talk about like really basic nonsensical stuff, right? Never really about my core issues because I was 15 years old and it was really scary. And I was raised in this house with this mentality, in this family, this culture, this structure. The mentality was what happens in these four walls stays in these four walls. And what was in those four walls, well, in the four walls of my mind and in the four walls of that structure is sadness and anger and unresolved trauma and depression and hurt and suffering and secrets and the weight of all of that, right? So eventually, that was the first time I went to therapy. Then it had planted a seed, even though I didn't utilize it to its greatest degree, and I really didn't care to share anything about my life because a part of me too was afraid that if I did share, my family would get split up, right? Like, people would come into my family and split us all up and take the kids away and blah, blah, blah. So that was me in my protective mode. I was trying to protect. And sometimes we make decisions when we're in survival and protection mode that we are still making, even though we're not in survival and protection mode anymore. Do you hear me? Okay. So, and then we have to become aware enough to recognize when we're doing those same things that aren't for the same reasons. We're not in that space anymore, which means if we need to move into the next level, we need the next level of ourselves or the next level of our decisions, the next level thoughts, the next level words, next level actions to get to those next levels. So eventually later on in life, later in my 20s, when I did realize that like, I have some serious issues I need to work through, I had to really decide to like do this scary thing that we don't do in my family. Well, at the time we didn't do. In my family, in my culture, it's just not something that we did. We don't talk to strangers about our business. You know, we don't talk about stuff. We just kind of get through it and we move forward because we just trying to survive. And so I had to make this decision to do this really scary and vulnerable thing and to reach out and to get therapy. And when I started going to therapy, I didn't tell anybody for a long time that I was in therapy because I was afraid of the judgment and the stigma that came from that within my own cultural parameter, because again, that's what you're taught. Like you have to suffer and deal with it. And there's this real overarching unconscious knowing that no one's going to listen to you or they're not going to believe your stories anyways, right? As a woman of color in this country, like there's that you have to fight against as well. So when I finally went to therapy and I started breaking all these cycles and finding this new insight and getting really clear, it was super helpful because I'm breaking cycles. I'm getting insight. I'm getting really clear. And I was able to start writing these new stories about who I was going to be and what kind of life I was going to live. I was able, through like clearing through the muck of all of that stuff, I was able to get to this place where I'm like, okay, now what? Like I need to next level my life. And now that I'm aware, and sometimes we're not always necessarily aware, but just the knowing that we're being held back, it gives us that clarity. Okay, I don't want to be here. So where do I want to be? Right. And so it was like a huge thing for me. And then eventually when I started talking about it, I got the jokes and I got made fun of and I got the snickering and I got the, oh my God, you're crazy. And I'm like, okay, but I feel better and I'm happier and like, just saying, this might be something y'all want to get on. And eventually other members of my family started reaching out and going to therapy and getting help, and like it started changing the dynamics of our family. And I don't know if I was the first one to go to therapy. I know I was the first one to talk about it and to like take the hit of the stigma. And I know that there were ripple effects after the fact, because I know that when we make the decision to do something really courageous and to step outside of the comfort of what we always know to be true, and we actually reach out and get help, we are creating a new path that other people can then follow, right? So when we choose to save ourselves or to heal ourselves, we are healing our generations. We're healing those after us. We're healing we're healing our lineage, our ancestry, and we're healing our current family and the people around us. We're providing permission to do the work. So I wanted to share that just to say, like, do yourself the favor. If you know that you are stuck and you're dealing with the stigma, I know how scary it can be. And I also know how courageous you are, because I've met enough humans in my life to know that humans are extraordinary and amazing and courageous. And you have survived 100% of your worst days. I know that because you're here, right? And if you're here, then you have the capacity and the courage within you to do this, to step outside of your comfort zone, to put yourself in a vulnerable position, to be willing to do that hard work, which is hard work, and to create changes in your life, because you deserve them. You deserve next levels of health and happiness, right? So really quickly, mental health is like a psychological well-being. I don't know the exact definition, but it's basically like I am self-aware. I am aware of my emotions and my behaviors. I'm aware of my abilities. I can self-advocate. I have self-efficacy. Even if it's not like the ultimate of these things, I'm aware enough that I'm intentional and I'm working my way towards, and I have this kind of satisfactory contentness about life, right? That's mental health. It is essentially the lack of a mental illness. So when we are talking about mental health, there's a huge spectrum of different things that we can do in order to ensure that we are taking care of our mental health. It could just be taking a break, and it could be going to therapy. It could be, doing a girls' night and giving yourself some me time for your body. And it could be standing in front of a mirror naked and talking about all the things you appreciate about your body and why you love your body. It could be, seriously, something as simple as sitting down and writing a couple of things that you're grateful for, to writing and sharing a story of your own triumph and healing, and then sharing that with other people. It's like the spectrum is so grand, which is why it is so important that we are paying attention to ourselves, so that we can give ourselves what we need in that moment to continue to maintain our mental health. So I have this little checklist, and it only has 6 bullets on it. And I'm going to go through them one at a time. So if you look at this mental health checklist and the first thing is I'm great, then fantastic. Your job at that point is to continue to do what you're doing to cultivate a strong foundation for your mental health, right? To continue those practices that are keeping you in that happy and healthy and clear and peaceful state. It doesn't mean that we're always there, because we are human and we have all the experiences and all the feelings. But when we're not there, we're allowing ourselves room to kind of process and deal with whatever it is. And then we bring ourselves back, right? Through these practices, we're able to bring ourselves back. So that's the first thing on the checklist. The second thing on the checklist is I'm okay. And if you find that you're just okay and you're in that space, then my recommendation at that point would be to do some gratitude work, right? It is the fastest way to elevate your vibe. When we have a daily gratitude practice, listing the people, places, things, experiences, no matter how small, in our lives, we get this automatic boost of serotonin, dopamine, and happy hormones in our body, which helps lift our mood. Sometimes it's so simple that people are like, that can't be real. But not until you create and cultivate a consistent gratitude practice will you be able to recognize how much it helps and how much it changes your vibration and your energy and the hormonal balance in your body. If you find that the third thing is you're kind of like, I'm meh, right? My suggestion in the meh is our physiological state and our psychological state are intertwined. So when we are feeling meh in the brain, one of the best things we can do is get up and move our bodies. Go for a walk in nature. Go for a walk in nature while saying your gratitude, right? Or put on a fun song, dance around, get a hula hoop, move your body. Move your body. Do something that's high energy that makes you feel good in your body. Because again, when we alter our physiological state, it alters our psychological state. The reverse is also true, right? If we find that in our minds, we're like, get up, get up, get up, and our bodies are like, oh, I don't want to move. We can convince ourselves in our brain, it's like, no, remember last time when you actually got up and went for a walk, how good that felt? And it's like, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, I do want to do that. So keeping in mind that there's this physiological and psychological connection. So if you're feeling meh, one of the best things you can do is to get your body moving, right? Tap into your mind through the use of your body. If the fourth one on the list, let's say you are going, I'm having a hard time and I need a break, then my suggestion is that you take a break. Seriously, when we find ourselves having a hard time, one of the best things that we can do is walk away from the situation, the work, the person, right? And it doesn't mean walk away forever and never get closure or finalize that or come to a conclusion, right? It does mean though, I can't think clearly in this moment and I need to walk away. What a lot of people do is that they'll find themselves in a difficult moment and then they try to force it and like keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Well, you're asking your brain to do something that it literally decided it wasn't going to do and it stopped. Right? And so in doing that and that constant kind of forcing the brain to continue on, we're actually creating more stress, which is actually messing with our immune system, which is messing with our hormonal balance, which is messing with our mental health. So do yourself the favor and take a break. And sometimes that break could be 5 minutes. I'm going to be over here. And sometimes that break is like, I got to take a vacation and get away from everybody and everything and just really clear my head. Right? And so again, self-awareness is really important because you don't know what I don't know what you need. You're the only one who knows what you need in that moment, but you're not going to know if you're not paying attention and giving yourself that room to really learn and understand who you are and what works best for you. All right. The next one is I'm struggling and I need to talk. So if you find that you are struggling and you need to talk, then my suggestion is reach out and find someone to talk to. It doesn't have to be a therapist or like myself, a life coach. It could be a really close friend and a confidant, but it definitely should be someone who supports you, someone who loves on you, and someone who isn't going to try to force you to rapidly fast forward through your feelings. Because when we allow ourselves to process through our feelings, it's a necessary part of the progress, right? I need to feel all the feels and then decide, am I going to stay here or am I going to come back, right? Am I going to come back to the natural place of love and peace and joy? And the only person, again, who can do that for us is us. Someone else can come along and crack us up and make us laugh and help us forget, right? And then what happens is when they go away, those feelings, they didn't go anywhere. They're coming right back. So giving ourselves the room to kind of sit in and process it, because again, it gives us the clarity in, this is what I don't want. So now that I know what I don't want, I better understand what I do want and how do I become and move towards that way, right? How do I move in that direction? So really, again, giving ourselves the room to feel all the feels and then giving ourselves the space to talk about it. And then finally, the last one is I'm really in a dark place. If you are really in a dark place, my suggestion is get help immediately. Don't waste time. Don't play around. Get help immediately. Sometimes when we cannot find the strength, the courage, the belief in ourselves, it is available to be borrowed from other people who do know how strong and courageous and capable you are. And sometimes we need to hold on to their belief in us until we reconnect to our belief in ourselves, right? So get help immediately. I'm going to put the phone number for crisis center and for suicide hotline if you are really in a dark place and you feel yourself going into those dark places, because the world needs you. And I do not want you to go anywhere. And if you're having a hard time, I do want you to take the time in the room to work it through. And you are a whole human and you are deserving and worthy of the time and the energy to work through your stuff, right? And until we take the time and the energy to work through it, and then when we're done, we realize how strong and capable we are. And when the next thing pops up, we're like, oh, I've been here. I did this. And the first time it might take you months to get through it. And the second time it might take weeks. And then, and maybe not second, I'm shortening it here for the purpose of the video, but you'll find that over time, it takes you less and less time to work through it. And then eventually your foundation of your self-care, your self-love, your prioritizing of your mental health is so strong that when a situation does come along, you're like, I know exactly exactly what to do with this. I'm going to sit in this. I'm going to feel all the feels. I'm going to give myself room. I'm going to talk about it if that's what I need. I'm going to take a break if that's what I need. I'm going to move my body. I'm going to take care of my body. I'm going to like think happy, not happy thoughts, but I'm going to continue to affirm myself and remember who I am and what I'm capable of. I'm going to think about all the people and places and situations and experiences around me, little and big, that I'm grateful for. I'm going to continue to fortify and build up that really strong foundation so that I don't go back there. I say this to people all the time and they say, oh my gosh, how are you so happy? Like, what is your secret? It's not a secret. It is consistent and continuous every day, just like brushing my teeth, right? It's really important that I keep all of my teeth as much as possible, especially because I broke all of them when I had an accident when I was younger. So for me, it's really important to take care of my teeth. I brush them twice a day. I floss every day, right? Like that's an important practice for me because I want to keep my teeth. Same thing on the other side. I want to keep my mental health. I was in the throes of depression. I was there for so long. I was miserable and I was unhappy and I was unhealthy. Physically, mentally, emotionally, I was unhealthy. And it wasn't until I took full responsibility and then I took one day at a time, step by step. And I'm telling you, little by little, it matters. It counts. It adds up. And little by little, little by little. And now that I'm here, I will not go back. I refuse to go back. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have bad days. It doesn't mean that I don't have moments when I hear about, something that happened in the world and how someone was treated unjustly or how someone was murdered or how something horrible happened to an entire group of people. Of course, I feel that and I let myself sit in and feel it. And then I use that information to decide who am I going to continue to be. Because if I let myself go back to that space of anger, I am going to be as broken as the people who are hurting other people, because hurt people hurt people. I am choosing instead to use this to build up, to solidify, to fortify my story that I am going to be someone who loves. I'm going to be someone who returns to joy. I'm going to be that person. My mental health depends on it. My relationships depend on it. The work that I chose to do with my life, I depend on it. Right? You are deserving and worthy of a happy and healthy life. And in order for you to achieve that, you have to make a decision about who you are going to be and how you are going to show up in the world. You have to make a decision that come hell or high water, you're going to do this work for yourself because you are deserving and worthy. And the truth is that when you do, even when you start, it creates ripple effects that you cannot see, and the world becomes a better place when one individual decides, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to find healing. I'm going to deal with my trauma. When one person decides to do that, ripple effects. Like you don't even, I can't even, because I want to keep this video short and it's already this long, but we need you. We need each other. I need you. I don't even know you, and I need you. And I need you at your healthiest. And your healthiest doesn't mean there's a spot and then that's it, you're there. No, it means each day that you make a decision to take one step forward. Each day that you make a decision to make a choice that's going to lead to your health, your happiness, your peace, your sanity. Each day that you do that, you are at your healthiest. Just from making that decision alone, And then eventually when you become so consistent in that decision, you start thinking different thoughts, you start speaking different words, you start taking different actions. And then those get stronger and those become second nature. And then they become your only nature. And then they become who you are. And I know that this is capable for all humans because I did it, right? And I know other people who did it as well. So don't hurt yourself, because you are loved and you are lovable and you are loving, and we need you and we need each other. And I need your gift, and I might not even know you. I don't know what your gift is, but I know that I need it, because I know every time I meet another human and I talk to them and I find out a little piece of their story and I find out a little bit more about them, my life is enhanced. My life is enriched. So get help if you need help. And if you're great, fantastic. Keep doing the work and be consistent with your practices to keep that foundation really strong. And if you're anywhere else in between that spectrum, take care of yourself, right? Continue to take care of yourself. It's an everyday practice. Give yourself what you need. You are deserving and worthy. You are deserving and worthy. You are enough. 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 Boom. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Mental Health Awareness Month. Take care of yourself. Break the stigma. Let's do this together. Let me know if you need me. I'll see you next week. If you like this, share it. thumbs up, subscribe. You know the drill. Take care of yourself. All right. Love you. Bye.